What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We're going to talk about the Web Warriors in Doom 1.1. We're going to work our way up to Doom 2.0. And the reason I'm starting out with Doom 1.1 is because that is something players are still progressing through. And Symbiotes, and 1.0, they're okay. But when you get to 1.1, they really just fall apart. You can bring in Phyla-Vell in place of Venom, but they struggle big time. It's all aboard the struggle bus. They don't have a good time. So we're going to start by using Web Warriors in 1.1. I pre-recorded all of this. We're going to go over the 3 fights that they do in there. Just kind of show how Web Warriors do much better in those nodes. And then later on in another video, we're going to work our way through 2.0, talk about those fights, break those down. But yeah, if you guys do find this video helpful, you do enjoy it, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're very close to 6,000 subscribers. Let's keep it rolling. But yeah, I mean, let's just dive right into this footage of the Web Warriors here. And this is what we've got built up on them. I don't know why I have Skirmisher. I was messing around with things just to see what I could do. I put Skirmisher for some reason on Spider-Man. I should have been putting Raider on him. Really, you can't go wrong with Raider, all 5 on all 5 of them. I just wanted to go for some Striker on somebody just because, you know, you want to get some bonus ISO attacks in maybe. And so I put Striker on both Scarlet Spider and Miles just to get a little bit more out of them. But honestly, I think if you go for Raider on all 5, you're going to be just fine, because they get so much crit chance and crit damage that, yeah, they just do so much damage. You don't really have to worry about the Striker too much. Just, yeah. There's really not much else to say there. They just do so much damage with the crit chance and the crit damage, the boosts of the passives and everything. They also get a lot of dodge chance, and they gain speed bar with that dodge. Every time they dodge, they gain 10% speed bar. Yeah. All right, so the first node here, put Disrupt on Ms. Marvel, so we don't have to worry about her taunting, but you can already see we're doing some stupid damage to some of these characters here. So right off the bat, we got defense down on Captain Marvel here from Miles Morales. He uses his ultimate, and in case you want to see how much damage it does, it's hard to see, but right in here, 420k, really blazing it against Captain Marvel. So does a huge chunk of damage there with that. Gets quite a few crit hits, and, you know, could have put the vulnerable out at this point, and that would have meant they take more damage. But also at the same time, you're going to put a lot of defense down with this team, which means that even with that, you're still going, like, you have the defense down, so that vulnerable with the bonus damage taken from vulnerable doesn't really make much of a difference. I started blowing some ultimates here. Really should have saved them from later. But yeah, heal block and trauma, that's going to be very important. If you ever go against Doom, that trauma from Spider-Punk in combination with the ability block from Gwen could be very helpful. Prevent certain characters, like, say, Doom. If you have someone who can remove ability block, well then you can put that trauma and ability block on Doom. Prevents him from getting it cleansed, and you don't have to worry about getting off his ultimate. Going into the second node now, and honestly, it's really funny. I haven't done Doom 1 in like a couple weeks, and I had already forgotten how it works. So I started doing this node, and I was like, man, this node. And then I started remembering what goes on in this node. And usually when I'm fighting this, you're, you know, I'm going to slow this down a little bit, because also this moves so quickly, you miss out on a lot of the animations and damage here. But yeah, with Symbiotes, you were always targeting Greg and using him to drive the speed bar on your Symbiotes. Well, that's not what you want to do anymore. Your team does so much damage that that's no longer a big issue here. Like, your whole goal is to just beat the enemy team into submission. And that's exactly what you're doing here. So we're going to chain here, do a bunch of damage, a bunch of defense down. Not a big deal. Now, I would have liked to put defense down on that Jessica Jones. No such luck. And also, you don't have to be too careful. I made a mistake here where I was being very careful with the special for Gwen, Ghost Spider, because I want to make sure that's up and ready to go. But also, one thing I forgot is that at the start of each turn, or at the start of the raid fights, she gives 2 ability energy to all Web Warrior allies. So as long as your abilities are within 2 ability energy at the end of a fight, you're going to be fine with the cooldowns, because you're going to get that ability energy to make up for it in the next fight, It's sort of like Heroes for Hire and War Defense. They get a bunch of ability energy at the start, make sure they get all of their ultimates and everything going. It's kind of the same thing with Web Warriors. So we're focusing on taking down Carnage and Scream, because those are going to be the deadliest characters here, really. And you're also going to see the problem with this team in that anything that's unavoidable, they're gonna take damage from it. And at the end of the day, they have great damage, they have solid health, but when they start taking damage, it hurts. Like, they don't have a lot of armor to back it up. They're very squishy. They rely on those evasions. So unavoidable attacks are a big problem for them. It's why they're not working too well in war. They're terrible on war offense. They're not much better on war defense, because as soon as you start putting out unavoidable attacks, these characters start falling apart. And you can see here, we're into a problem where I almost lose Ghost Spider. Now, you can easily clear heal block on these characters. There's a passive one, the other Web Warriors, I forget which one it was, but when you land critical hits, it will cleanse heal block off a random Web Warrior. So you can just do a bunch of chain attacks, land a bunch of crits, you're going to clear those heal blocks right off, and every time you hit an enemy in the raids, you gain 3% of Scarlet Spider's max health as healing. So that is something to consider as well. Possibly healer on Scarlet Spider for that, because that is going to deal some, that's going to be very helpful for making sure that he can heal your characters back up to full. But there you go. Heal block is now cleared on Ghost Spider. Not a big deal. And now we can start taking care of some of these other characters. Trying to go for Scream here. Jessica Jones is going to clear everything off, because of course she does. But see, look at that. Just the ultimate from Scream reduced speed bar, but also took out almost half of Spider-Punk's health. So yeah, these characters, as long as they dodge, they're fine. But once they start taking damage, it's scary. And look at that, we almost lose Spider-Punk there. So we're going to chain a little bit. We're going to hit all these characters, hit them quite a bit, and heal Spider-Punk back up a little bit. Doesn't heal up too much. It's only 3% per enemy hit. So you're going to have to do a lot of hits, and that's why there's a lot of chains and everything. So if someone's low on health, you have a lot of chains ready to go. Those chain attacks will be very helpful. But then here we go, the boss node here. And I think this is also not the toughest boss node. I think, well, no, because I think there's a couple characters that are different on this. There's some Colossus, quite a few Shockers. Gonna heal some characters back up. But yeah, you guys can see for yourself, like, you got to be very careful with these guys. You got to make sure that you are picking on the right characters, you're ability blocking the proper characters, and you're focusing on characters who can do those unavoidable attacks. So characters like Black Bolt, Kestrel, both those have unavoidable attacks that could really wreck you. So you have to be very careful with those. Trying to think what else off the top of my head. I can't think of what else is unavoidable. Scarlet Witch, her ultimate is unavoidable as well. So if you start getting debuffs on your Web Warriors here before Scarlet Witch uses her ultimate, then you're gonna run into a problem, because then if Doctor Strange flips everything, Scarlet Witch then extends, you run into a bit of a problem. So the ultimate from Scarlet Spider in raids removes all positive effects from all enemies, which is very, very helpful. Using the ultimate here, deal out some trauma and heal block. But you also don't want to go too ham with the ultimates here. You know, that stun from Spider-Man is going to be available next turn. We're getting some defense down on Scarlet Witch. We're going to take her out here in a second. But look at that. Even with like Ghost Rider doesn't heal back up, but does some solid damage to Spider-Punk even with that defense up on Spider-Punk. This is the thing with 1.1. 1.1 gives a lot of bonus damage to the enemy. So this is where Web Warriors are going to have a bit of a problem. Also puts defense down and offense down on Spider-Punk. So not good. Not good, Bob. Gotta finish off Scarlet Witch. Even though she's got blind, her attack is unavoidable. So that's still going to ignore blind. You need to make sure that she gets hit or stunned or ability blocked or something. Doesn't use that. Now we're going to focus on Negasonic a little bit. get some more damage on her. She's very beefy because she gains a lot of barrier as the fight goes on. She's always gaining barrier at the start of each of your character's turns. So you want to just kind of keep her in control. Some speed down, a lot of speed down, defense down, heal block on her. There we go, getting some more characters summoned in. We need to finish off Jessica Jones because we don't want her cleansing. That is going to be very, very bad. Could have put Disrupt on Colossus here so that he doesn't taunt, but we're going to finish him off before he can taunt anyways. It's not a big deal, but yeah, it's another thing to keep in mind. Actually, I don't think I kill him before he taunts. Or maybe I do. Yeah, I have a very short memory. I did these fights like 7 hours ago. I don't remember how I did everything. But there we go. That Squirrel Girl is going to be bad news. Again, this is where that trauma comes into play, that trauma with Spider-Punk, because then you could have used that trauma, send out all these debuffs, and then the cleanse with Squirrel Girl wouldn't have done a thing. So yeah, if you save Spider-Punk's ultimate for when Squirrel Girl pops down, so you get the trauma and everything out, you're good to go. Now here, I'm gonna spread everything I can. I can't spread trauma, but I can spread all those other debuffs. So everybody's got defense down, speed down, and heal block. A lot of it. Gonna focus on Falcon because we don't want him getting off his ultimate because that's gonna do a lot of damage because we have a lot of buffs over here. Though they do have a lot of evasion, but still, not good if he lands all those attacks. That's gonna hit every time. It's gonna hit additionally for each buff I have on each character. So that could be a one-man wrecking crew on this team depending on how he's buffed up. Put the ability block on Squirrel Girl. Make sure she isn't cleansed right now. Of course, you could have just avoided that if you had trauma ready to go. So yeah, take that as you will. And again, if you guys are wondering why this is a little choppy, we did slow things down just so you guys can get a little more of a view of what's going on here. Because at 3x normal speed, things move so quickly with this team. A lot of animations and stuff going on. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, we slowed it down to 0.75% speed or 75% speed. Just slow things down just so you guys can see a little more of what's going on here. Now we've got another Electro, another Colossus. Work on them. Also, Baron Mordo, I forgot. Baron Mordo's heal block ability is unavoidable, I think. Though it can still be evaded. There's something weird with it, but yeah, it can hit. It's got extra accuracy on it somewhere. So that is another thing else to keep in mind. Though with all the crits that you guys are going to be handing out with Web Warriors, that's not going to be a big problem because you're going to clear those heal blocks anyways. So now we're going to focus on Negasonic and try to finish her off here. She got plenty of defense down, all those stacks. You can see how many stacks she's got. I mean, we have no problem prolonging negative effects on these characters. This will finish off Negasonic, and now we just have Colossus left. So now, finish him off, and that's going to be it for the fight. So, yeah, the Web Warriors do very, very good in 1.1. Significantly better than Symbiotes. This is basically showing what to expect if you are going to be gearing up. Now, keep in mind, these guys are drastically over-leveled for this. Tier 15, 2.3 blue ISO on them, all the T4s on the team. This team is drastically over-leveled for where you're going to be with this, but if you do invest in them, you're going to have a seriously good bio rate team on your hands. They're going to kick button here. 1.1's really not going to be a problem. So let me know down below what you guys think of this. If you guys like what you see with Web Warriors, does this get you a little more excited for the team in the Doom raid? Let me know down below. As always, make sure that like button, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys next time.